And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success, another episode of Morning Coffee. Yesterday kind of went off a little annoyingly, it seems like. It's only about a little 7-minute episode. I got to go delete it from YouTube because it was kind of annoying that it just shut down. Restream decided that it was going to not stream. So we just live every morning on YouTube, run it over on TikTok, a couple other places. Working on getting it up on Instagram because, well, I can, but I got to do the work. So, morning coffee, we talk every morning. What is up, Nikki? We talk every morning a little bit about what's going on in my life, the tools that I use to help myself be better every single day, and it's a process. Yesterday, we talked a little bit more for the 7 minutes that we were on about like how this is something that you may hear a repeating topic. And I have to tell you that life is that way. The things that you do need repeating in your brain sometimes. You need to remember over and over again because you forget. You forget that it takes time, it takes work, it takes practice to make it so that you can get through situations that you're dealing with. So living on that positive side. So like when I've talked about this before, but I used to be the person who thought that the glass was half empty, right? And looking at that, I always thought, well, if the glass is half empty, that means that if it ends up getting a little bit more in it, I'll be happy. If it doesn't, then I'll be not disappointed because I never thought that there was that much in there anyway. And I realized that it wasn't really what worked, okay? So you could sit there and you could think over and over again that the glass is half empty and be excited every once in a while when it got filled up a little bit more, but it didn't work out. But now if you think if the glass is half full and then you just add more to it, you're constantly adding and adding and adding until the cup overflows. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. It doesn't mean that everything is unicorns and rainbows, because you still have those moments, but how you deal with those moments are a completely different situation. Dealing with how other people react to you, dealing with how you react to other people, controlling what you can control, controlling the outcome that you have versus what other people can do is really what matters. And I don't know if I talked about it yesterday because I kind of got a little out of it with that. And you roll with the punches. You're like, you know what? Here's 7 minutes of something and it just happens. Whatever. So yesterday was Wednesday and we had a whole bunch of stuff going on, but we did our motivational music hour, and I just was thinking about all these things that were happening and how you listen to these songs and they have a lot of meaning and what these people are going through and how awesome it would be to have a conversation with them and talk to them about it. And I was writing this down as like, man, I should do an artist song breakdown podcast, like where I can get the artist on for like 15 minutes and talk to them about the song that they wrote and why they did it and all that stuff. But with Shaping Success, it's funny because it's going to kind of take a little bit of a turn here. It's kind of been not in limbo because I'm going to continue to do it, but I just keep bouncing around trying to find the things that are working. And I'm realizing that there's more things that are working. Like adding that wouldn't be that big of a deal. I could do it. I could get someone else on here and start talking about breaking down that song, and we could do it for like 5 minutes or whatever. Say we were talking about Small Town Titans the other day. They wrote a song called Doorbell. And it kind of led into the song that we were talking about with Adelita's Way, where someone wishes they were you. And it talks about the perspective of the guy who is singing and how he just wants a doorbell. Like he basically wants a home. He wants somewhere to be where he doesn't have to be traveling all the time. And the other guy was like, well, you know, I want a dream and you are living your dream and I am living in this home. And so like you have to look at the perspective of other people and how meaning may mean something to you, but it may mean something different. Someone wants what you have, and it may be better than what you think it is. It's just you've got to look at it in a different light. So it'd be a good conversation to have with him, why he was writing that, why he was feeling that way. He kind of wrote it in the song, but really to elaborate and break down on that. But today I wanted to talk about success. Like we sit here and the story of this podcast has been the same, consistent for a long time. The reason why it's called Shaping Success, the reason why success is an important topic to me is because when I was in high school, there was a kid who told me that he was going to be twice as successful as me. And that really made this question in my head, that how could you tell me that you're going to be twice as successful for me? What does success mean to you? What does it mean for me? You can't tell me that you're going to be more successful than me if you don't know what I think success is, and I don't know what you think success is. And Tim at that point was making money, having lots of cars, having all this stuff. Like, that was it. And it isn't defined by material things, like in the song Doorbell. It's not defined by, for one person, it wasn't defined by having those material things. It was defined by having, a dream and being able to go after it and pursue that goal, where he had become complacent because that's what he had to do. And he had to work, and he had family, and he had all that stuff. But he had to maintain all those things and keep doing the same things so that over and over again, he could have the home, the material thing. But the thing that wasn't material was the dream, and he didn't have that because he couldn't pursue it anymore. Perspective. It's all about perspective. It's all about the way that you look at it. And that was the funny thing about that. That's one of those things about those songs. So success is defined by you. You create it. I used to think that when I was younger that success was about having lots of money and having a nice big house and having nice cars and having all that stuff and just showing people, hey, this is what I have. But then I realized that it was more about the happiness that is involved in it. Now, I changed tires for 11 years and I made good money, and the goal was always to make more money so you could progress in that job. So you work harder, you make more money. You work more hours, you make more money. You become an assistant manager, you make more money. You become a manager, you make more money. And people are like, well, that's not very much money. Well, in the company that I worked in, it was pretty good money. I mean, I made close to $60,000 a year changing tires. And when I decided that I was going to quit doing it because it didn't make me happy and I was going to go do something that made me happy, I became an educator, became a PE teacher because I was able to coach and do sports and, do those types of things and be involved in that. And I thought it was awesome. It was great. It was fun. But I went from making $60,000 a year to making $38,000 a year. No bonuses, no room for advancement, nothing other than making that amount. Now, you could work extra gigs, like you could coach, and coaching made you like $2,000 for a 3-month season. You put way more time into it than you get back out of it, but that was the only way to make ends meet. Oh, I'm going to make another $2,000 in 3 months because I did this. When your paycheck was less than $2,000 a month, which is crazy. It's crazy. Teachers do not get paid enough. But the realization was, I don't do this for the money. I do this because I love it. Doesn't always work. Okay? It doesn't always work. And so you realize that you have to do something else. And I realized that what success became for me was, no matter what I'm doing, was being better the next day than I was the day before. How can I be better at anything that I do? So anything that was put in front of me became, how can I do it better? How can I reinvent that? How can I make it work? And we talked yesterday, a guest and I talked yesterday about how not being a self-made man, and I posted a TikTok about it too. It's like, you're not a self-made man. You are a self-made woman or self-made person, whatever you think, like whoever you are. There are things that you are doing that have been done before. And you're looking at that every single day and you're trying to figure out, how can I do that better? And for being better every single day, you start thinking about that. So this podcast, for instance, how can I make it better? How can I do better at it today than I did yesterday? And whether that be engaging more with the audience, whether that be improving the camera angle, whether that be improving the lighting, improving the microphone, like what are the things that you can do to make it better? And for me right now, that goal is to become a better speaker. I've been doing it for 4 years, and I need to be better at that. I need to be better at talking about it. I need to be better at articulating the information that I'm trying to get across. There's all kinds of these things that we try to do every single day that make us better. For Nikki here is watching. She is in Toastmasters. She's working on speaking, and you talk about speaking and you practice, right? So that you lose the bad part. So when I first started podcasting, there was a lot of ums and uhs and things. I'm not saying I don't do it anymore. I still do it. There's repeating of words that I do a lot of times. I say the same things. There are transitions and there are things like that. But I'm trying to be better every time. Okay? And so you just have to keep working through it. You just have to keep practicing. You just have to keep getting better. And then when you get that prize, when you win that championship, when you get that first place ribbon, when you get all those, when the end is there, you don't say, well, it's over. That's it. That's all I got. It's what's next. And I think about it. The other day, I kept posting over and over again on TikTok because that is where the majority of my people are, and talking about how I'm at 2190 or 2180 or something like that on my subscribers on YouTube, which is not very many. For those of you who have a YouTube channel, you know that that's not a whole lot. It's a lot more than under 100, which is what I started with. But the goal is now to get to 5,000. And I was trying to get to 2,200, but there's a small step. So we zoom out. The idea is to get to 10,000. But how do you get to 10,000 first? You have 9,099 times that you have to get there first, right? 9,999 times that you have to get there. So you have to have that many subscribers, and each one of those is a stepping stone to get to that goal that you want, right? And that's it. Like, if you can break it down, so if you can zoom out, this is what I want, big picture, and this is how, and then how am I going to get there? Well, I got to get one at a time, right? Well, maybe the first goal is, okay, I want to get to 10,000. Let's get to 5,000 first, okay? Because I'm almost there. And then in between that, I need to get to 2,500, which is halfway there. We get halfway there. We keep pushing, we keep working, we keep putting more content out, and hopefully it'll blow up. At one point, it only takes one time, right? But what happens if I quit today? Chances are less. It's like winning the lottery. You got a better chance of winning the lottery if you have 10 tickets or one ticket. So put the opportunities out there. Put your stuff out there. Put your content out there. Every short video that I have is one chance of someone else coming back to the big picture, joining the loop, getting in there, getting more people, telling someone else about it. We act like we don't have a big audience, but when we're sitting on TikTok and we have 200 people, it takes 1,000 to go live. We have 200 people. We're speaking to 200 people that we never had access to in our life. Go try and talk to 200 people in one day. Good luck. But with this little phone, you can turn on your camera, you can talk, and you can reach that many people. There's the potential to reach that many people. And that's it. It's crazy. I think I look at, like, right now, I have the download stats of the podcast, which is audio only, right? In the last 30 days, I've talked to 601 people, if you look at it that way. 601 people have tuned in and listened to it. Okay. The other thing, 45,000 downloads. Okay. I've reached 45,000 people. Can you think of talking to 45,000 people in your life? Without doing it, there's no opportunity. And getting to that 10,000 people, what's up, Robert, over on TikTok? Think about getting to that mark, right? Like, you get there. So say I want to get 10,000 followers on YouTube. I get to 10,000 followers. Is that it? Do I just put up my hands and I'm done because that was all there is to it? Nope. That's not it. We're going to try for 20, try for 30. I mean, I'd love to get over 100, but never being satisfied is one of those ways to get there. And back to that, self-made man thing there, or self-made person, or whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. Success leaves clues, okay? Success leaves clues. So if you watch people like, all right, we'll throw out a big name podcaster, Joe Rogan, right? Throw Joe Rogan out there. He's not telling you how to do it, but if you watch him, you'll see what he's doing. you'll figure it out. You'll see how he's doing it. So if it leaves clues, it only behooves you to go and study those people who are successful. Talk to those people who are successful. Find out how they did things, but you have to open up your ears and listen, because there is a lot of knowledge that has been pushed out that you just ignore because you've got these ulterior motives of what you want to hear. You have to sit back and listen. Okay? Listen to what's going on. Success leaves clues, and if you sow the same seeds, you'll reap the same rewards. Okay? And that's where we're at. That's what we have to do. You have to realize that it's bigger than just you. You are not the only person. You're not the only cog in this wheel, but there are other people who have done it. So if you know someone who is doing what you want to do, okay? For instance, I was a teacher. I'm not going to be a teacher again. I've decided I don't want to do that. Talk to someone who is a teacher. Ask them what they did. Listen to how they did it. Use the clues that they left you and help yourself to be better at what you're doing. I'm currently a salesman, right? And it's funny. I have a really good track record as a salesperson. I make really good money. I have really good closing ratio. But the trips and tools that I use, I don't hide them. I don't keep them from other people. I tell people, this is what I do. This is what works for me. And it may not work for them. I trained a guy. I taught a guy how to sell. And he took some of the information that I gave him and he did other things. And, it didn't work out for him. It doesn't always work. So you have to find the tools that work best for you. So use the tools that you use, take what you need. And sometimes if it's not working, you might need to change the ways that you think. You might need to change the way that you do something, because if you don't, you could be stuck in a rut. You could be stuck where you're at. And maybe you don't like doing that. Maybe not everyone can be a salesperson. Not everyone can walk into someone's house, show them a product and help educate them on it and then take their money. It doesn't always work that way. So that's what I want to leave you with today. I want you to remember that as you're doing it. It takes practice. You can control what you can control, right? So go in there, control you. You can't control the reaction of the other person. You can't control the outcome, but you can go in there and you can do everything you possibly can to make the outcome the way that you want it. But if it doesn't happen, then you have to accept it, right? You can be the person who goes in. This is why I love baseball. This is why I love sports. Golf's the same way. There's an instant feedback of what you did. And you have chances with golf, right? The idea is to be under 70 because that's like a really good score. But you go out there, you take a swing with your driver, and it goes to the right, and you realize that you have lazy hands. You have to come through the ball more, right? You go through the ball more because you didn't the first time. You hit it way left. Well, somewhere in the middle there is the perfect combination of what's going to make that happen, and you have to make the adjustment, and then it goes. You're in the batter's box. You're taking a swing. Guy throws you a fastball across the plate. You're way behind. How can you get in front of that ball? Step back in the box. Okay, give yourself more time to get through the ball. Right? Throws a fastball again. You're still behind. Step back a little bit more. And you just have to make those small adjustments in life to be successful. And again, like I said, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. People who succeed at the highest level are not lucky. They're doing something differently than everyone else does. Tony Robbins says, what are you doing different? How are you doing it differently? And if you're not, what can you do differently to make it happen? Failure is part of it. Fail forward and continue to move forward. That's all I got for you. Thanks for hanging. I hope that you have an awesome day. We'll catch up tomorrow. I didn't know if I was going to do this morning, and I just decided, you know what? Get out there, make it happen. Till next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.